Roselle Park Board of Education, September 17th, 2024. Call the meeting to order. This meeting is an open, excuse me. This meeting is an open session of the Roselle Park Board of Education being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger, Local Source, Home News Tribune, Borough Clerk, school offices, and district website. Roll call, please.
President Paul Baiamonte.
Here.
Vice President Constance Quintella.
Here.
Susan Carlstrom.
Here.
Dr. Brittany Kirkland. Cindy Mago.
Here.
Jennifer McCarr. Chris Monroe.
Here.
Michael Ann Regan.
Here.
Thank you. Please stand for the flag salute. Let it be resolved that the Roselle Park Board of Education meeting hereby convenes to executive session for discussion of the following subjects: personnel, attorney-client privileges, student matters. It is anticipated that the executive session will take approximately 60 minutes. The board may take action during the public session. The board shall return to public session following the executive session at approximately 7 p.m. The minutes of the executive session shall be released to the public when the reason for the executive session no longer exists. Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're in executive.
I can't read this. But oh, oh my God.
Can I have a motion to return to public session?
Make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're back. Public participation on agenda items only. Each member of the public may speak a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, Lucy Figueredo, 330 Sheridan Avenue. I actually wanted to say, I saw that Mr. Harms was resigning, so I wanted to thank him for all his services. He's been amazing on the board. He's always cared only about the kids. He's done so much for this town, so I want to say thank you to him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jackie Garcia, Roselle Park. Personal agenda items 9B, resignation of Lauren Harms. As Lauren Harms steps down from the Roselle Park Board of Education, I wanted to extend my heartfelt gratitude for his years of dedication and services to our school community. Mr. Harms has been a steadfast advocate for quality education, ensuring that every decision made by the board was in the best interest of the students and the staff. Throughout his tenure, Mr. Harms' commitment to improving our schools has left a lasting impact. His leadership in enhancing student programs, advocating for better resources, and fostering a supportive environment for both teachers and students will be remembered for years to come. Mr. Harms' collaborative spirit and passion for education has been an invaluable asset to our district. Most recently, he advocated for the construction of a new school, which we desperately need, and I will continue to advocate as well. I wish Mr. Harms all the best in his future endeavors and thank him for his countless hours that he devoted to making Roselle Park Schools a better place for all. Thank you, Lauren, for your years of service and dedication to our community.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close the public participation. Student recognition.
Before we do a student recognition, I just wanted to welcome to our board a student who's a member of Roselle Park High School, Yana Metellus. She will be attending the board meetings every month. She's an active student council member, peer crisis counselor, National Honor Society, and respected by classmates and teachers. So welcome aboard.
Mrs. Mello, Vice Principal, Roselle Park Middle School, Council of 10 Leadership. At Roselle Park Middle School, each year 7th graders vote to elect the Council of 10 for the following school year. These students have demonstrated overall dedication to being respectful and to being role models in our student body. As this Council of 10 members, these students, under the direction of Ms. Weingart and Ms. Howell, are a vital part of the Student Council and take on responsibilities such as monthly Student Council meetings, campaigning for a president, helping at school events such as Back to School Night, voicing student concerns through leadership, sharing information with the school community, organizing dances, fundraisers, and spirit days, acting as chairperson for a month, and being a role model. For Council of 10 Leadership, Arsh Adil, Atia Alvi, Emma Argue, Jada Boyd, Ava Cutrofello, Richard Huxford, Christian Joseph, Jarrell Mills, Giancarlos Permison, and Sophia Toussaint. Looking forward to a great year with the Council of 10 and very proud of the members that stand in front of you to represent the Roselle Park Middle School this year. Congratulations. Yep, they're alphabetical. Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Principal, and congratulations to the students. We'll move on to committee reports. Start to my right. Anyone to my right? Committee reports? None? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
For the HIB committee, just want to say that, just want to put it out there to the parents when you receive a HIB, because there's a lot of misinformation about HIBs, and I want everyone to understand. HIBs, when you get a HIB and it says it's a HIB or not a HIB, it's only for internal purposes. It doesn't follow you to college. It doesn't prevent you from getting a job. It's not a record or a legal charge or anything like that. It's just something that's internal for the school, and you have a choice to appeal it if you want, or you don't have to. But just know that appealing it because you think it's going to hurt your child's future is not. It's just something internal for a record for the school. And basically, if it's a repeated offense, the school will follow the code of conduct. But a lot of parents ask, and they're scared when they get that HIB letter at home. That we just want to make sure everybody is well aware that it's not. It's here and that's it. It's not going to follow them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Good evening. As Ms. Bolduc gets ready to present, I wanted to I'm delighted to report that we've had a strong and positive start to the 2024-2025 school year. Our focus remains centered on providing the best educational experience for our students, nurturing their academic growth, and supporting their overall well-being. I'm also pleased to share the results of the recently New Jersey Quality Single Accountability Continuum NJQSAC review, which was conducted by the Union County Executive County Superintendent and their team pursuant to NJAC 6A30. Our district's performance across all 5 New Jersey QSAC areas have been thoroughly reviewed with the following placements results. Instructional and program, 81%. Fiscal management, 100%. Governance, 100%. Operations, 97%. Personnel, 97%. These results reflect the hard work and dedication of our entire team. Our district has met at least 80% of the weighted indicators in all areas, earning us a designation of a high-performing district by the Commissioner of Education. The recommendation will be made to the State Board of Education to certify us as providing a thorough and efficient system of education for the next 3 years. This is a significant accomplishment, and I extend my congratulations to everyone involved in making this possible. In terms of academic performance, we have seen encouraging progress. Our testing coordinator, Ms. Bolduc, will be presenting the district's DLM and NJSLA results shortly. Some of the highlights will include a 90% increase in the percentage of elementary students meeting or exceeding expectations in ELA, 44.6 increase in meeting or exceeding rates for middle school Algebra 1, alongside over 100% increase in high school Algebra 1. High school ELA 9 saw more than 20% improvement from 2023 to 2024 test administrations. While these gains are promising, we recognize areas for growth to address specific needs. Our district has implemented several interventions. ELA and math coaches are analyzing data supporting instructional strategies and facilitating better coordination between our teachers. Intervention teachers provide targeted supplemental instruction based on students' needs. A shift to skills-based instruction focused on grade level standards and increased opportunities for project-based learning and STEAM experiences is underway. Lincoln benchmark assessments are administered 3 times yearly to identify standards requiring the most improvement. In addition, we have shifted our math sequence with students now taking geometry in 9th grade and algebra in 10th, if they do not pass the NJSLA in 8th grade. These adjustments will support our goal of improving outcomes across the board. Our graduation rate for 2024 reflected a total of 157 graduates, with only 4 students not meeting the necessary requirements. We will continue to support all our students in reaching this important milestone. As we move forward, we are committed to ongoing improvements, both in terms of academic achievements and district-wide operations. I continue to look forward to collaborating with you all to ensure that we continue building on this solid foundation. I also would like to begin including our residency checks. We do have a full-time residency investigator. As of August 17th to September 9th, he completed 34 additional residency checks, bringing a total of 154 since July 1st. During the same period, 7 additional students have been disenrolled from the district, bringing the total since July 1st to 13 students not living in district. Lastly, on behalf of the entire school district, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to Mr. Lauren Harms for over 30 years of selfless service to the students, families, and community of Roselle Park. Throughout his tenure as dedicated board member, his unwavering commitment and passion for ensuring the best possible education for our students has made a lasting impact on all of us. His leadership, wisdom, and persistent advocacy have been instrumental in shaping the path of our district, always with the well-being and success of every student at heart. You have given so much of yourself to this community, and your legacy will continue to resonate in the lives of countless students who have flourished under your guidance. It is with sadness that we acknowledge your resignation from the board. While we are deeply saddened to see you go, we are forever grateful for your remarkable dedication, vision, and countless contributions. Thank you for the example you have set for us and for the lasting impact you've made. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
I'd like to invite the Board of Education members to have a seat in the front row. Yana, you can have a seat in the front row as well. I'm Colleen Bodek, the Director of Guidance and Testing for the school district. Each fall, we're required by the state of New Jersey to report the results of our spring assessments. So this evening, I'm going to present the NJSLA results as well as the DLM, that's Dynamic Learning Maps, and the graduation reporting requirements. Ms. Goyce did give an overview, so I'm going to reiterate a few of those points. So NJSLA stands for the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, and students are assessed in math, English language arts, and science. This is administered in May to students in grades 3 through 9, as well as students in grades 11 in science. And we did test some students in math in grade 10 this past year as well. And the NJSLA assesses our readiness for college and career, and Algebra 1 is given as a requirement to all students at some point throughout their career in school for federal accountability purposes. So this first slide, before I dive into the data, I just want to preface it with students, their scores fall in a continuum. And that continuum falls all the way from not meeting expectations, partially meeting expectations, approaching expectations, being on the bubble of meeting or not meeting, and then meeting or exceeding. So we really want our students to be in that meeting or exceeding category. And for the purposes of this presentation, I grouped the meeting and exceeding groups together in one, so it was easier to look at, and then all of the other groups in the not meeting category, or failed to meet expectations category, as you see there. So, and I'm comparing the data from 2023 to 2024. So if we see there, this slide shows our district-wide results. So for English language arts, we went up from 23 to 24 about 5%, 5.5%. So an additional 5.5% of our students met or exceeded expectations in English this year over the previous year. And we went up in the areas of math and science as well. Now this slide, I'm looking specifically at elementaries, the elementary schools by grade level. So these are the results for all 3 elementary schools. At the top, we're looking at 3rd grade, and I'm just looking at the meeting category on this slide. So you can see we went up 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade in ELA across the board, with a substantial increase year over year in 4th grade. In 2023, 46.1% of students met or exceeded expectations in English. And then in 24, 61.7% met or exceeded, which is a huge gain. And you can see also in 4th grade for math, we increased over 10%. These are the results for science. And science is only given to 5th, 8th, and 11th graders. You can see we're pretty consistent from 23 to 24 with a slight increase in scores for the 11th grade. And I think it's important to note, because I'm sure you're looking at these scores and saying, okay, 24.3% meeting or exceeding in 5th grade, that doesn't seem like very good. But I don't have the state meeting or exceeding rates on here for 24 because it's not available. But for 23, the state meeting or exceeding rate for 5th grade was 25%. And you'll see in a little while, Sherman was well above that. And then also 8th grade, the meeting or exceeding for 2023 was 9%. So we're somewhere in that range. And then for 11th grade, the meeting or exceeding state average for 2023 was 20%, which we were above last year just by a little bit. This is the results comparison by elementary school. So this is grouping grades 3, 4, and 5 all together. And again, I'm just presenting here the meeting or exceeding groups. So for English language arts, Aldine had a meeting or exceeding rate of 57%, Robert Gordon 47%, and Sherman School 65%. For math, meeting or exceeding expectations, this is just 2024 administration, 33% of students at Aldine met or exceeded expectations, 28% at Robert Gordon, and 47% at Sherman. Science, Aldine 26%. Again, that's, remember I said 25% for 2023 was the state average. So if it's consistent when the state results come out this year, we will be in line with the state. Robert Gordon 15% met or exceeded in science, and Sherman 31%. This is the results for ELA at the middle school. In 6th grade, we had an increase of over 10% over the previous year. In 7th grade English, we went down about 5 percentage points, and 8th grade English, we also went down about 10 percentage points. This is the results of middle school math, and this picture needs a lot of explaining. So please listen as I try to share the results here, because the picture doesn't really give a good understanding of where we're at in math. But for Math 6 in 2023, we had 23.2% of our students were meeting or exceeding the expectations. And we went up to 28.8 at the end of last year. So that was an improvement. All 6th graders take Math 6. For math, or the math, I should say, the Math 6 assessment, the NJSLA Math 6. For Math 7 in 2023, all students in 7th grade took that assessment, and 22.5% were meeting or exceeding. What changed in 2024 is that we extracted the top students in math and we had them take algebra in middle school. And they were tested end of year in the algebra assessment. So those top scorers were removed from that category in Math 7, and their scores were put in that awesome, what looks amazing, right? Algebra 1, 28 to 72.6 into that area. Math 8, you don't see any results in 2023. That's because we had all of our 8th graders in 2023 take algebra. They took algebra in 8th grade, and then they took the assessment at the end of the year. And 28% of those students met or exceeded expectations at that time. What changed last year is that we shifted so that a group of students in the 8th grade took Algebra 8, so middle school algebra class. And at the end of the year, those students were tested in Math 8, and 11.1% of those students met or exceeded expectations. The other group remained in Algebra 1, high school Algebra 1 given in middle school, and their scores were also a factor in this huge gain, this 72.6, which was a huge gain over the 2023 algebra results. And then geometry, we went from 72.5% in 23 to 63.4% in 24. And we had a larger group of students taking geometry in 8th grade last year than we had previously. So previously it was the tippy top of the class students taking geometry, and now we've expanded that to include more students. And here are the results for the high school. We can see in 23, our English language arts students that met or exceeded was at 42.2%. And then we had a really big gain of over 20% on our 24 results. And then in algebra, this also needs a little bit of an explanation. We went from 5.6% to 12.5%. Passing in algebra. That 12.5% consisted of one class of about 19 students, and those were all newly arrived to Roselle Park students, either newly arrived ESL or coming to us from other districts or states. So I just think that's important to note when you look at those results. And then for geometry, in 2023, we had just our honors students, our honors geometry students were tested in geometry in NJSLA. So we had 32.6% met or exceeded at that time. And last year we had all of our 9th graders who had taken Algebra 1 that previous year in 2023 at the middle school. They were all testing in geometry last year because they can't test in algebra twice. So if you took it in middle school for the NJSLA, you can't take it again and have your scores count. So all of those 9th graders took geometry, as well as our sophomores who had taken algebra in 2022 at the high school. So geometry, this was the first time we were widely testing geometry for NJSLA. So there's definitely a learning curve that needs to be worked out there. But I believe with the shifts to our math sequence, we're going to see this leveling out in next year's results. So state requirements also indicate that I need to report subgroup data. So I'm going to report by race and by program. And this is data across the district. So I know this is small, sorry. I'll explain real quick what you're looking at. So in the upper left-hand corner, we're looking at ELA results by race. And all the way to the left, we have Asian students, followed by Black students, Hispanic students, students of multiple races, and white students. So generally speaking, if we're seeing the arrow go up, that's a good thing. We want students to be meeting or exceeding. And if the arrow's going up, we're seeing students meeting and exceeding in much greater numbers than we're seeing them not meeting or partially meeting or approaching. So ELA, we look to be in good shape across racial groups. In math, we see a little bit of a discrepancy. So we see one group, multiple races going down and going up, so it's a little topsy-turvy there. And then we see Hispanic student scores and Black student scores going from largely partially meeting to approaching, and then the arrows going down toward meeting and exceeding in less numbers. And then lastly, science, we're seeing the arrow going down in across subgroups. So our students are not meeting or partially meeting or approaching much higher numbers than they are meeting or exceeding. So those are areas to be addressed. And now we're looking at the subgroup data by program. All the way to and this is the same sequence here, ELA in the top left, followed by math in the right, and the bottom is science. So the top left is students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, and I believe we're at 57% district-wide this year. And then the next one is too small for me to see. That's 504 students. The next one is special education, that third group, and the last group is general education students. So for ELA, we're seeing the arrow go up in every area except for special education. In math, we're seeing the arrow up in 2 areas and down in our free and reduced lunch population as well as special ed. And again, in science, the arrow is trending down. So Ms. Goy's already mentioned some of the notable accomplishments, but I just want to reiterate, across our district, students meeting or exceeding expectations increased in all subject areas from 2023 to 2024. I think that's something we can really be proud of. Also, overall, ELA at the elementary level, students meeting or exceeding expectations went up 9% from 23 to 24. Our shifts to the middle school math sequence led to a big increase in our algebra score pass or meeting exceeding rate. And then we had that huge increase of over 20% in ELA at the high school level, which if you tuned in for my NJ GPA presentation, we also had a big shift in positive trend in our 11th grade NJ GPA pass scores in ELA. So, you know, we're doing great things in ELA. Some intervention strategies that we're working on, and I really have to give Ms. Goy's credit for this. She has been putting a huge focus on data, having us all look at the data, examining it, talking to our staff about the data, having students make goals, staff make goals around this, inviting the conversation, which I think is so important, and I'm so happy to be sharing all of this with you guys today because this has been my life for the last few days, and I get really excited and call people up and say, hey, look at this, and what are we going to do about that? And it's good. It's really good conversations to have. But we're also doing things like continuing with our ELA and math coaches, and they are great at analyzing data and supporting our teachers in best practices. We also have our intervention teachers in ELA and math, and they're using the data, the linked data, to identify areas of weakness for our kids and really helping them build the skills necessary for success, not just on these tests, but in the classroom, which we all know translates out to life and a career. Some of the things that we're going to be doing moving forward is we're going to test again and link it. We do benchmark assessments 3 times a year. Our students are going to be tested again on NJSLA in the spring. I also should note, I think I would say this later in the presentation, but in the next couple of weeks, parents are going to be receiving the individual student reports for the DLM and the NJSLA, so they can dive into the data a little more deeply with their children and their children's teachers. So I also want to mention or discuss the results of the dynamic learning maps. The DLM is the assessment for students with the most severe and significant cognitive disabilities. And these students are also tested in English, math, and science. Again, science is just tested in 5th, 8th, and 11th grade. But the results also fall on this continuum of emerging, approaching, at target, or advanced. And we would like all of our students to be at target or advanced. We had 21 students test in the spring. Because suppression guidelines limit me from reporting any data of less than 10 students, I'm not going to be reporting on any subgroup data for this presentation, but I did want to share this graph, which has the 2023 results on the left, and then, the first set of bars, then the 24 results, and the first 2 groups of bars are emerging and approaching. So we can see that our students are emerging and approaching in higher numbers than they are at target or advanced. But there are some positive areas. If we look all the way to the right, that dark blue bar, if we compare that dark blue bar all the way at the right to the 3 right before it, it's gone up quite a bit, and that's in math. So we are seeing some gains in math and slight gains in science as well for our students with the most significant cognitive disabilities. And some of our intervention strategies for our DLM testers are targeted instruction, continuous review by our child study team to make sure goals are appropriate and interventions are in line with what the students need. We have our CPAG group, and we have ongoing work with the New Jersey Coalition for Inclusive Education, which I know many of our staff attended training with today. I already addressed looking ahead. Again, in the next couple of weeks, parents should anticipate the student results in the mail. And then the last thing I'm going to report on today is the state graduation requirement. So last year we had 163 students graduate in the class of 2024. And the number of students that were denied graduation were 4, but it's important to note only 1 of those students failed to meet graduation requirements. So students are permitted, certain special education students, if it's in their IEP, they can stay and continue their education. So 3 of those students stayed, but they otherwise did meet graduation requirements. So we're doing really well on that front. And then there's the graduation pathway data. So that you can see there, many of our students met the first pathway, which was the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment, which is given in the spring of their 11th grade year. And if students pass with a certain cut score in English, they're good. They don't have to continue on to any of these other pathways. So we had almost 90% pass in English before having to look at a substitute competency or to do a portfolio, which is submitted to the state so the state can check and see that the students have achieved the learning standards. And in math, we had 80.5% meet with NJGPA, 8.9% of students met with another pathway, which could have included SAT, PSAT, ACT scores. The pathway 3, again, the portfolio, we had 5.3% pass. And then we had a small percentage that were exempt from with their IEP. And then this is all information taken from the NJ SMART report. If you have any questions about what I presented today, I'm happy to answer any administration questions. My contact information is up there. I also have Mr. Salvo, the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and Ms. Gilgallen's information. Ms. Gilgallen's the Director of Special Services. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you, Ms. Bodak. Okay, with that, we're going to run through the agenda items, starting with personnel. Agenda items 1 through 12. Number 1, district substitutes. Number 2, staff appointments. Number 3, standard-based instructional support programs. Number 4, rescinding of staff appointments. Number 5, middle school additional classes for teachers for 2024-2025. Number 6, high school extracurricular club advisor. Number 7, degree changes. Number 8, toileting stipend 2024-2025. Number 9, staff resignations. 10, medical leave. 11, live streaming producer. Number 12, office coverage for lunch 2024-2025. Can I have a motion to approve the personnel section?
Make a motion.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Can I have a second?
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice President Constance Quintella.
Yes, with an abstention to number 8.
Susan Carlstrom.
Yes.
Dr. Brittany Kirkland.
Yes.
Cindy Mego.
Yes.
Chris Monroe.
Yes.
Michael Ann Regan. Yes. President Paul Baimonte.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Under education items, agenda items 13 through 18. Number 13, Elevate Educators LLC. Number 14, conference attendance requests. 15, new entrepreneurship club, middle school. 16, 2023-2024 school self-assessment. Number 17, revised Roselle Park preschool student handbook. Number 18, CUSAC results and acknowledgement. Can I have a motion to approve the educational section?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Constance Quintella.
Yes.
Susan Carlstrom.
Yes.
Dr. Brittany Kirkland.
Yes.
Cindy Mego.
Yes.
Chris Monroe.
Yes.
Michael Ann Regan.
Yes.
President Paul Baimonte.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Under business, agenda items 19 through 23. Number 19, monthly certification. 20, approval of bills. 21, use of buildings and grounds. 22, professional service contract 2024-2025. 23, donations. Can I have a motion to approve the business section?
Make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for number 22 to add the wording on an as-needed basis.
Number 22, what was that? I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
To add the wording on an as-needed basis to both A and B. Second.
So that was a motion? Okay.
It
And
would be a motion to amend the motion on.
Motion to amend to say
Yeah.
on an as-needed basis.
And there was a second here. Okay. All in favor? Right. Are we doing
Right, that would be all in, the question at this point is just on the motion to amend. So it's all in favor, all, yeas or nays on the motion to amend the language. Then there would be an actual vote on approving.
The
everything
section. So on the amendment, right?
Do
So,
all in favor.
okay, all in favor on the amended section of number 22.
Yay.
Yes.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries.
But now you do the motion on the actual.
Now the motion on the business section. So, is there any more discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Constance Quintella,
Yes.
Susan Carlstrom,
Yes.
Dr. Brittany Kirkland,
Yes.
Cindy Mego,
Yes.
Chris Monroe,
Yes.
Michael Ann Regan,
Yes.
President Paul Baimonte.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Do we have any continuing business? Hearing none, any new business? I'm sorry? Go ahead.
CPAC met and had their first meeting of the year on September 12th on Zoom. They held a parent roundtable, and then many participants also participated in the Span Watch Party. The next CPAC meeting will be held on October 17th at 6:30 p.m. The Sherman PTA had their first meeting of the year on September 10th. It was amazing to see such a great turnout. 9:20 starts the Spirit Wear fundraiser. 9:25 is back to school night, where Spirit Wear will be sold. 10:1 starts Boo Your Yard, which will go on throughout the month of October. 10:2 is National Walk to School Day, where Sherman students can meet at Acker Park and walk together to Sherman. 10:2 is also the Walkathon and Custodian Appreciation Day. Ice Pop sales will be held on Friday 9:20 and Friday 9:27. Ice Pops cost $1. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? New business? Okay, seeing none, we'll go into the public participation. Each member of the public may speak a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record.
Hello? Yes, so George Ramirez, this presentation that was given with the ELA, I mean, a 5% group of people met or exceeded the requirements. What's going to be done to make sure these numbers are better for next year? Is there, can I ask a question?
Technically, this is comment period, so you can.
Or should
make
just
comments.
comment, that's
You
it,
can
there's no
express your
questions?
concerns, But it's not a free-flowing back and forth.
Got it. Okay. Well,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, we could reach out to you, Mr.
Yeah,
Ramirez.
because I mean, that's horrible as far as results go, but I'll reach out. Thank you.
Colleen Bodek, Director of Guidance. I just want to mention to make sure when you're looking at those slides, to look at it in the context, because the math, there is an explanation for some of that, which I did go over, but I'm happy to talk to anybody about it if they want to give me a call. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Jackie Garcia, Roselle Park. In New Jersey, there are specific federal and state requirements regarding inspections of school facilities for asbestos and lead. After careful review of the reports on the website, the Roselle Park School District Board of Education does not seem to provide a detailed, specific action in response to the recommendations provided by the environmental consultants since 2023. While the district has emphasized ongoing efforts towards the safety and improvements of school facilities, the specific steps or outcomes following the environmental inspections are not clearly outlined on the board's website, nor are any letters to the communities been posted, again, since 2023. Can the board provide what are the outcomes and or at the very least update the website to notify the parents of the action items that will be taken on the inspections of the facilities on each of the schools? In addition, I wanted just to provide some comment and feedback from Ms. Bodak. The presentation was very hard to read. I think you also had a problem reading it yourself, and I think it's owed to the constituents and people here of the town to have a very clear presentation with the data to support it. So if you can, please provide that information to the parents, that would be greatly appreciated. And then my final comment, in doing some research with other Board of Education, I noticed that this board doesn't salute the flag at the beginning of your meetings. Is there a specific reason as to why? You don't have to answer it today, but it would be nice to have some feedback for the folks that are watching as well.
I will respond to that.
Well, if you respond to that, can you respond to my other questions as well?
The other questions will be addressed through the superintendent, but saluting the flag, we do salute the flag when we open the meeting at 6 o'clock for executive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And it should be done in the public session as well.
The public session starts at 6 o'clock. Anyone else? Hearing none, close the public participation. Before I get into the adjournment, a couple things. First, I want to touch on Lauren Harms. Lauren has, I know Lauren maybe 15 years now. We sat on the land use board together 15 years ago. That's where I met Lauren. Honestly, I was scared of Lauren at first. He has a certain demeanor to him, which is great because that's who Lauren is. I learned to respect him. I learned to look up to him. Lauren became a mentor for me. He's been there by my side for 15 years through a lot of different things. We worked well together here. We worked well together on the land use board. It's sad to see him go. There's one thing that, I had a conversation with him in 2019 in front of the library, right across the street from the library. Lauren was one of the first people I spoke to about running for council in 2019. And he said to me, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I want to do it because I want to be, I want to help with the community and do, improve the community and be involved." He says, remember one thing," he said to me, and it stuck. It's been in my head since. He says, "You see all these people that support you today? When they don't need you anymore, they will no longer be your friends. And today, that still stands true. So all you people running for positions, be careful." That's one thing. The other thing is I want to apologize, but I'm not really apologizing for the delay in today's meeting. I understand it was a concern that we ran late, but we ran late doing the business of this community, doing the business of this district, and making decisions for the students of Roselle Park. That I cannot apologize for. Never will I apologize for making decisions and working hard for our students. If anyone else has a comment about that, you can now, but I'm not going to sit here and absorb banter about running late. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Before we vote on that, the next scheduled board meeting will be an open session held on Tuesday, October 15, 2024, at 7 p.m. The board meeting will be held at the Roselle Park High School auditorium. If there is an executive session, which there probably will be. Executive sessions last till about approximately 7 p.m. Doesn't mean we're going to be done at 7 p.m. It's approximate. We try to respect it. If we're hot and heavy into a conversation, we will delay. We're not in there partying. So I just want to make that clear. I respect the fact that everyone's here on their time, so are we. I appreciate that. And I thank you for your patience. Can I have a motion? There was a motion. A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Good night, everyone.